Good evening. I am Kia, and we're here with Top Rope Spoilers. Aren't we missing someone? My co-host, my husband. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen.
No love for me? Mwah, that's right. Hey everybody, how's everyone doing tonight? As she mentioned, we are here for Top Rope Spoilers, here to discuss The Horror Show at Extreme Rules. First of all, shout out to our musical play to start things off. That was Watch Me Now by Kevin Rudolph, the official theme song of The Horror Show at Extreme Rules, used with permission. So YouTube, don't take us down, because we will put all information about the song at the bottom of the video. But first of all, for everyone that joined us here tonight, welcome. If you're to us for the very first time, a huge welcome to you. Hopefully you're in for a nice treat. For those of you who have followed us, welcome back. This is our official prediction show where we go over all of the matches of our particular favorite pay-per-views and then have an opportunity to be able to give our official predictions. So, without further ado, let's get the show started. First of all, before we get into it, to summarize how we've been doing up to this point, we each have 23 correct picks against 12 wrong picks since the start of WrestleMania back in April. So, a dead even slate across the board. Someone's going to have to break the tie. Is it going to be here, or are we going to still be even after all said and done? But let's get started. We open up the pay-per-view with our first match, which is being defined as an eye for an eye match, and that's between Rey Mysterio and the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins, over on Monday Night Raw. For those who know me, I don't like things like this. I watched that Kane movie where, I see you, and, he starts pulling people's eyes out and everything else, and things like that make me squeamish. And the idea that a human being on, even if it's pay-per-view, it's going to get their eye pulled out. I really hope this is some kind of joke or some kind of cinematic, but things like this make me squeamish. I don't like this.
Now, see, me, on the other hand, I love horror shows, I love horror movies, and obviously it is known as The Horror Show at Extreme Rules, so it is the perfect name for this pay-per-view.
Which, of course, then begs the question, why is this not happening in October?
Who knows?
I think Vince missed his calling here. But, of course, Ray has been the consistent thorn in, Seth Rollins' sign for his great design when it comes to, bringing about the best possible future of Monday Night Raw. And at this point, he needs to sacrifice Rey Mysterio. But Ray has not gone away quietly. Even his son Dominic is now involved. He's brought Aleister Black into it. He's brought Humberto Carrillo into it. Of course, you can't ignore... his disciple that's in the back there with Murphy. So, it's curious to see how this is going to go, but I really just think this is one of just a lot of personal, feelings on this. It'll be curious to see if Ray is going to eventually be the sacrifice or if he can be the one to stop the Messiah by, making him blind to his own, creation. So, we did flip a coin backstage. I say backstage, but that means behind the camera before we get started. Kia won the toss, so she's going to get to go first.
With that being said, I believe, like you said, the Monday Night Messiah and Ray have been at this for quite some time, so obviously this will be the match to decide on, first of all, who keeps their sight, who loses their sight. With Seth being the architect previously in the Shield and now the Monday Night Messiah, I believe in my mind he will be the victor. And as you can see, I am literally wearing the results on me. I feel like he's going to pull out...
No spoilers for me tonight.
I feel like he's going to pull out that same eye that he has injured on Ray and be the victor. As much as I love Ray, I'm going with the Monday Night Messiah.
Can't do it? All right. For those who have who followed me throughout my time, you guys know, as I already said, I'm very squeamish about things like this. But you'll also know that I am a person who may be one of the rare few who really cannot get behind Rey Mysterio. I've really never been able to. Everybody else, loving fan favorite, he's enjoyable. Very rarely has he played the heel role in his entire career, which, he's made a very clear point is more behind him than it is ahead of him. Also the fact that there, of course, is the rumored conversation that he's working without a contract right now opens the door for him to be potentially, working his way out basically whenever he wants to. It makes more sense, not just on that, but also the fact that SummerSlam is getting ready to come up for Seth Rollins to work himself back into a big match. So I don't like the idea of someone going blind as a result in order to win a match. But I'm also going to agree with you. I'm going to go with Seth Rollins to win this match over Rey Mysterio. I just won't like it, or maybe even watch it. So someone may have to yell down the hallway to tell me who won.
But you're not going to be blinded to the fact that Seth will be the winner.
I guess we'll find out.
We'll have to wait and see.
So we now move over to SmackDown, a match that was actually announced yesterday on SmackDown. It will be a tables match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, currently held by the New Day, being challenged by the team of Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, up to this point, for weeks, Nakamura and Cesaro have really had the New Day's number, and very few teams can say that.
Exactly.
The only team that's really been able to consistently stay with the New Day for the last couple of years has been the Usos, who obviously are out of contention for a while.
Exactly.
But didn't matter if it's a singles match, tag team match, six-man tag match. It's been Cesaro and Shinsuke ahead the entire way. The New Day has really not been able to find an answer, but historically, in matches like this, usually the team that's been getting their tail handed to them left and right usually finds a way at the pay-per-view. It'll be curious to see if that continues.
Entertainment value go to the New Day. The seriousness factor goes to Cesaro and Shin. But I love both teams. Anybody that knows me, I'm a big fan of tag and I'm a big fan of women empowerment, so I'm for the women's matches whenever they have them. I would like to see, I'd like to see the New Day retain. Obviously, that'd be great. But I also want to see them, kick the titles back and forth to other tag teams. And so
that's been the one thing that you really can say about the New Day is it seems like anytime there's a title change, it's either leaving the New Day or it's coming back to the New Day.
Exactly. But I would say my pick.
I pick first.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
It's okay.
Bad.
See, everybody settle down. She'll get there. But either way, this is one I can't really get a good handle on.
A feel for?
I don't have a good feel on this one just because, again, it's a tables match. It's very unpredictable. Sheamus won his first WWE Championship over John Cena on a botch it was involving with a table, and it ended up just jump-starting his career. So, hey, sometimes lucky breaks.
He was the only one that could see Cena, so that's why he won.
Yeah, well, it worked out. Ironically, we talked about seeing. Come on. But, whenever, the New Day has been backed into a corner, they always somehow seemingly find a way to kick it into that next gear and find a way to get it done. I do think the New Day will find a way again. There's too much entertainment value. I like Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, but I do think the New Day retains.
That's how good of a tag team they were. You always want to see Sheamus and Cesaro together because they were so well together. But I feel like Cesaro, like I've stated in the past, can work with anybody. And we've seen it happen before, and it probably will continue to happen throughout his career, even though I'd like to see him go for a solo title. But, like I said, I'm a big fan of tag teams. I want to see the New Day keep it. I believe that these two do have their number. But at the same time, Corey has stated something about, I think some mentions of Xavier, so I feel like that would play in the New Day's favor. Maybe not. But, so, my pick would be Shin and Cesaro.
You're going for a title change.
I'm going for a title change. I love them, and I can see them winning with everything that they've pulled for the last couple of weeks against the New Day.
So our first pick separate from each other, so somebody's going to break the tie there.
Yep.
Let's move back to Monday Night Raw, where we will have a match for the United States Championship. And unlike other times that has been, it's not the old WCW-looking one. It is the new United States Championship. I said we'd show off a little something fun here, and you know me. I got a belt collection. You knew it wasn't going to take me long to get my hands on this one. And I'll tell you one thing. Look at the size of these plates. This is 5 millimeters thick. This is some heavy stuff here. This is like a 7 or 8 pound belt. It's easily the heaviest one we have. So people gave it flack for, the look, but I really think the lighting didn't do it much justice. So if you really get a good look at it, and I'll take some pictures, post them on our Instagram, it really does, in my opinion, have a good look to it. I kind of wish, they would have put some blue over the front, but I digress.
It is what it is.
So the United States Championship match to be featured between the current incumbent champion, Apollo Crews, Georgia Boy, and Montel Vontavious Porter, MVP. Now, back in the 2000s and 2010s, MVP was one of the, the highest rated champions and longest reigning United States champions of all time. And, I think even though in his older age, I think he's wanted to kind of feed back to that a little bit. But the reality is, this is not so much more about MVP getting the title more than it is about Apollo Crews not holding the title, because Crews spurned him a few weeks ago when he offered his help.
I honestly feel with, like you said, he spurned MVP, and you know MVP don't play well when he gets spurned or he doesn't get listened to because he has been around, he's been in this business, he feels he's got a lot to offer. But when Cruz did that, he said, I'm my own man, I'll do my own thing, I'll fight my own fight, I don't need no help, that's fine if you continue to help Lashley, in a matter of speaking. I believe he's been a fighting champion. I believe he's going to retain, but, you know, it is what it is. Again, if MVP happens to get it, it's going to be to the help of Bobby Lashley because Lashley's always been in his corner.
And it's good that you bring that up because, of course, you can't ignore the fact that Bobby Lashley, the Almighty, is sitting back there. Mm-hmm. He's put Apollo Crews, in the rack a couple of times there into that vice grip. But you also have to mention that Apollo has had a little bit of help in his corner. He's got Cedric Alexander. He has Ricochet, who have been assisting him. So I feel like maybe the outside is going to be played even, and this will end up being, a very competitive match. You're up first.
I'm not going to pull against my Georgia boy. You know how I am. I love my Georgia people. I also love my Texas-based people. But in this match, I am clearly pulling for Cruz.
Every bit of this, does feel like, MVP even said it himself a couple of weeks ago on Monday Night Raw. Mm-hmm. You're going to lose that United States Championship, and when you do, I will directly have a hand in it. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, he said the same thing to Drew McIntyre a few months ago. It didn't turn out that well. Yep. I can't picture MVP losing twice because very similar to Paul Heyman, he very rarely says something that doesn't inevitably happen at some point. I do believe Cruz will lose the United States Championship, but not right now. Mm-hmm. I think Bobby Lashley will be the person that will ultimately be the one to take it off his hands. I think they're going to give Cruz at least another month, probably drop it at SummerSlam, but for now, I like this pick. I do like Apollo Crews as well to retain over MVP, leading to a feud potentially with Lashley. Mm-hmm. So one more last look at it. Marvel, enjoy. Maybe some new plates to whoever wins. So, we'll see what happens. We move back to the blue brand, moving to SmackDown in our first of 2 women's championship matches that will be taking place on the card. The first one for the SmackDown Women's Championship. The challenger, Nikki Cross, getting her first singles match for a main roster singles title, going up against Bayley Dos Straps. I screwed it up on a previous recording, so, hey, I got it right this time. One half of the women's tag team champions, as well as the current SmackDown Women's Champion, longest reigning, greatest ever, whatever you want to call her.
Yada, yada, yada.
In Bayley.
Ding dong.
Ding dong, that's right. Bayley has done it all, won it all, said it all in the last year. Basically, anything that she has set her mind to, she's gotten. And not necessarily doing it fully through underhanded tactics. She's called her shot every time, and doesn't matter whether it's by underhanded means or whether it's because she was just flat out better, she's beaten virtually everyone. Nikki Cross has been the one person, though, that seems to, up until a couple of weeks ago, had really kind of gotten into the psyche of Bayley. Of course, Nikki already losing one championship to Bayley when they won the women's tag team titles off of them, along with Sasha Banks. But Nikki has been a person that successfully earned this shot. But her feelings kind of going down a little bit right now. She's lost 2 weeks in a row. She even said last night on SmackDown that she's kind of feeling the pressure right now, and she's starting to crack a little bit. Alexa's trying to keep her held together, but Bayley right now seems to be in her head, and that can't bode well for Nikki.
What I do like about Bayley, and as much as I am a fan, but I'm more of a fan of Nikki.
Sheep.
Bayley has done everything. Heel moves, heel tactics, face tactics. But Bayley also has her best friend Sasha in her corner every step of the way, even though I feel like, Sasha is in her shadows.
One thing to note, though, and we haven't gotten to it yet, but of course Sasha has her own match to prepare for at Extreme Rules, so you have to wonder, is Bayley going to have to take this one alone? I
feel like, it doesn't matter if they're in separate matches, if they're together. I feel like best friends, Sasha and Bayley, will get it done any means necessary. Now, on the other hand, when I say best friends, we have the most unlikely pairing in Alexa Bliss and Nikki, and just because Nikki may feel a little down on herself because she's lost 2 weeks in a row, I feel that's going to give her the motivation to beat Bayley Dos Straps.
Well, maybe the motivation from your questions with the Queen earlier today will be what gives Nikki the motivation. For those who didn't watch it, our first Superstar highlight video, and she highlighted the challenger, Nikki Cross. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, go back. 15 good minutes of talking about Nikki, getting her ready for her match, so be sure to take the time to go back and take a peek at it. I'm up first, right?
Yes, you are.
On this one. So, as I said, Nikki seems to be losing confidence. Alexa's really trying to kind of keep the pieces of all of her glued together, because this will be, without question, the biggest match of Nikki's career since joining WWE. Bayley, meanwhile, has won when the lights are the brightest. She's won at WrestleMania. She's won at SummerSlam. She's won every championship there is. Grand Slam champion, first one ever. So the fact is, right now she's on a high that most women never get an opportunity to even consider, let alone get to live it for this long. SmackDown Women's Champion for over a year. And you see the number of challengers she's beaten. She's taken out Lacey Evans. She's taken out Naomi. Breaks my heart. She's beaten even her best friend Sasha Banks, at WrestleMania. You look at Tamina, you look at Alexa Bliss a number of times. She's beaten everybody who's been put in front of her. It really is hard to picture Nikki Cross being the one that's going to end it, and yet you can't help but feel that Nikki might have a way, especially with Alexa, that maybe a little bit of Alexa heel turns into play here, where she convinces Nikki to do whatever she's got to do to win it. I also, as mentioned earlier, note that Sasha has her own match, so Bayley's going to have to take this one alone. She won't have Sasha in her corner, but Nikki could still have Alexa because she does not have a match on the card.
Exactly.
So we'll have to see, if any of the outside plays a role. However, all things considered, Bayley's faced too many big names. She's taken on too many good competitors. I can't picture Nikki Cross being the one ending it. So I do feel like it will be Bayley retaining the SmackDown Women's Championship over Nikki Cross. And I've picked against Bayley, and I'm not screwing up again and going against her again because she just keeps making me look silly. I'm pretty sure out of my 12 misses, I'm pretty sure she's like 3 of them. What you got?
I will go on the record, like I said, I feel like Nikki is the one. She's down on herself. She needs Alexa to keep her together. I feel like her sanity has been tested with that, and obviously Bayley has had the brightest lights, has shined the brightest, so forth and so on. But in my opinion, like you said, I highlighted Nikki Cross, which means I'm going for Nikki Cross. I feel like she's going to get it done. She's going to fight the good fight, and I feel like she's going to come out on top. So my pick is Nikki Cross.
I think we can both agree you're picking an upset. I don't think there's much question there. Bayley with definitely the experience advantage, the moment. But you think, when the moment's here, you think Nikki's going to find a way?
I think she is.
Fantastic. I love the pick. And don't get me wrong. I won't be upset if Nikki wins. But I don't think she's ready for this moment.
Okay,
but we'll find out. That's what it's all about. She earned the shot. And speaking of earning shots, we now move to the other women's championship, which is back on the red brand for Monday Night Raw, with the Raw Women's Championship currently held by Asuka, who of course used Money in the Bank to win the championship just after Money in the Bank. She will be taking on the other half of the women's tag team champions in the Blueprint, the Boss, the Standard, Sasha Banks. So interesting that, Sasha is going to get a shot at it because, of course, she is a SmackDown competitor just like Bayley, but using her advantage of being the women's tag team champions can appear on any show, and they have been successfully defending like nuts on every show for the last several months.
Exactly.
So, Sasha feels like she has earned the opportunity. She challenged Asuka, and Asuka accepted. So now you've got an opportunity, potentially, if Bayley was to handle business against Nikki, you got a chance for potentially Sasha and Bayley to hold all the gold across the board if things were to work right. It's also, of course, possible that both could not hold a singles title at the end, or it flips and Sasha's holding 2 belts while Bayley's only holding 1. So a lot of different ways it can go, especially with SummerSlam coming up.
Yep.
So, and of course you can't discount Asuka. Everything she's done, despite the fact that, amidst like Nia Jax's argument that she was handed the title, she's gone out and she's defended it. She's defended against Nia. She's had several matches against Bayley. She's had several matches against Sasha. Of course, Kairi has recently come back, and on a recent episode of Raw Talk earlier this week, Asuka has already accepted a challenge to defend the Raw title against Kairi Sane at SummerSlam should she retain over Sasha Banks. So, interesting that the friends are already sitting here discussing the future, hopefully not looking a little too far ahead.
Who knows? You know how much I love Asuka. You know how much I love Sasha. I think they're both good competitors in their own right. I honestly was glad to see Asuka, kind of win the title back, from Becky more or less through a Monday Night Raw, which the title was sitting in there. She didn't know, honestly. But I'm not going to discredit Sasha either. She has literally gone through all 3 brands for the last couple of months. She has ran her mouth. She has shot her shot. She's been getting it done. Again, with the help of her best friend, who has a match previously before her, as far as we know.
Right, we don't know what order these are going to go in. This is just the order we're thinking they're going to go.
But see, my thing with Sasha, I feel like she deserves to hold, the Raw title. But I think, honestly, Asuka will retain in this match only because Asuka has been a fighting champion across the board. It's going to break my heart to see Asuka lose to another horsewoman after she lost to Charlotte in New Orleans, which, if you go back and you watch your videos, it made me cry to no end. I think that was the match that struck me the most. Again, with that being said, I believe Asuka will retain, and as much as I would like to see Sasha with the title, I honestly want to see her with the Smackdown title because that's the only one I believe she hasn't held, if I'm correct.
That's correct.
So, my pick would be my girl Asuka.
Let's make it official.
Clearly not understanding what she's saying, but I think she's going to win.
Right, so basically your picks are, going back to this, you think that the Golden Role Models are both going to not be holding singles titles the end of all of this.
That's
okay? Right. Which, of course, then starts setting the animosity between the two, potentially leading to the SummerSlam feud we all have been asking for. Asuka, you're absolutely right, has been a fighting champion. Yes, she got, more or less handed the championship due to Becky's pregnancy, but, she has gone out and she has defended. She has definitely been entertaining all the way, dancing the entire time. I can't do it, but... she's made it entertaining, but the fact is, the flagship of the women's, not just in WWE, but women's wrestling in general, has been carried by Bayley and by Sasha Banks. They have been the standard. They have been, the bar of exactly where women's wrestling they want it to be, and it's great to see the run that they've been put on. One thing is missing from all of this, and that is Sasha getting a title run. It has been very well documented and very noted by the social media world that every time Sasha wins a singles title, they drop it off of her very quickly. She has been due for a very long championship run, and I don't see them pulling the trigger on the Sasha and Bayley story quite yet, because that's one that deserves to have fans sitting there seeing it, because when that moment happens, whether it's Bayley turning on Sasha or Sasha turning on Bayley, whichever way it ends up going, when that explosion happens, fans are going to need to be there to be able to see it. That deserves more than just the handful of the NXT folks. So with that being the case, I picked Bayley to retain the SmackDown title, and I do think we're going to see a title change here. I'm going with Sasha to win the Raw Women's Championship, which means we are looking at, we're going to try the hashtag, Bayley Sasha All Straps. I don't know if that's how it's going to go down. We'll let them figure it out, but the reality is all 4 titles will be held by Bayley and Sasha, and another difference of opinion here. So we're definitely going to be breaking that tie.
Yep.
So we move to what we're calling our penultimate main event, which is going to be a Wyatt swamp fight, if you can name it that. You want to call it a Bayou match, but, it's close enough.
It seems like we'd be in the Bayou, in the swamp, same thing.
But two former best friends turned bitter enemies go head-to-head as Universal Champion Braun Strowman heads to the swamp to take on Bray Wyatt. Now, one thing to do note that, yes, Braun Strowman is currently the Universal Champion, but this match is not for the Universal Championship, so no matter how this match turns out, unless Otis cashes in on, Braun at the end of it, and if Otis shows up in the swamp, he's there to get crab legs, not to... he's not going to be there to try to win the Universal title, I don't think.
Oh, wow.
Mandy won't be anywhere to be found, I know that. But the reality is I think this one's a little too personal. I don't think the Universal title's got squat to do with it.
I think, like you said, it's a personal vendetta. I don't think they're best friends. I feel like when we were watching them, they were family. So you have, family who turn their back on the other, so the other one has a personal vendetta to kind of fix it and say, I made you who you were. I was the one that put you in the spotlight. I brought you in. I cared for you. Nobody else out of these people cared for you like I did. But what did you do? You turned your back on me. Which, in my opinion, I feel like Braun did what he needed to do for him. He left. Just like we saw Daniel Bryan come in, and then Daniel Bryan decided to leave. I feel like Bray has had an emotional breakdown. It might have taken a while, and as we all know, Bray, the Swamp Bray, has gone from that to The Fiend, to Funhouse Bray, to back to Bayou Bray, as we can clearly see. So I feel like Braun has his number. I feel like Braun honestly will be the breaking point, if not already, of Bray.
Well, you see this match, and Braun did a pretty nice job of actually with his speech before he absolutely demolished John Morrison yesterday on SmackDown. That he says, "I have to stop Bray before he becomes the Fiend fully." He's acknowledging the fact that him leaving is what broke Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
He knows it. He believes it. And this whole idea of Bray having these multiple personalities, because when you first saw him in the Wyatt family, you only had just the one. You had what we're calling Bayou Bray. Very, very competitive, but ever since Braun left, he hasn't been the same. He went through these personality changes, of course, teaming with Woken Matt Hardy for a little while, turning good guy, eventually coming back bad guy, and then coming back with just this mental mindset of I'm Funhouse Bray, I'm happy, I'm glorious, with a very vindictive, sick, evil side in The Fiend, who held that very same Universal Championship for a number of months. So Bray, at this point now, is beyond scarier than he's ever been, but from a strength perspective is up against maybe the one person who might know him better than he might even know himself right now in Braun Strowman. But you're playing in the backyard of the Wyatts. I'm not sure who that favors right now.
I feel like it favors both people. I feel like both people, as much as I want to see one come out over the other, I feel like they'll both be victorious in their own way. And
I guess we have to pick a winner. And what's interesting about this match is the fact that we don't even necessarily know how you officially win this match. I don't know if there's even going to be a ring. Is it going to be someone gets thrown in a swamp? Is it going to be someone eaten by an alligator? I don't even know how you necessarily win this match, if it's going to be you can't compete anymore, or someone, changes back. So now we move to the official pick. We anticipate this will be a cinematic match, which they've done fantastic work on. Let's give them credit.
Yeah, they have.
Since WrestleMania, these cinematic matches have been fantastic, going all the way back to The Undertaker's match with AJ. They did a cinematic match with Braun and Bray the first time. Granted, it was in a ring, but then they had the little puppets and everything else, and the Fiend, popping up, at the end. This is an opportunity to see the many sides of Bray and all the different personalities and all the different minds. So I've got a feeling it's not going to be just Bayou Bray we're going to see. I got a feeling Funhouse Bray is going to show up. I got a feeling, I'm hoping Muscle Man Dance Bray will show up for a little while. I'll get up and dance. Braun is going to do everything he can, but, that, of course, also would mean we're going to have to see the Fiend. And I think the ultimate conclusion to all of this storyline is going to inevitably be Braun Strowman having to defend that Universal title against the Fiend, the monster that he literally says, because I left, that's what was created, and I'm not sure I can stop him, because if I don't stop him and the Fiend comes out, no one's going to stop him.
Yeah, exactly.
So in a match like this, I really do feel like Bray has the home field advantage for the most part. That's going to play to his advantage. Braun being willing to go to the swamp to face him, and I think that is going to be his undoing. He knows he's going in not a favorite in this match. And I do think, there's too much Bray. There's going to be too many personalities, too much plan in place. I do like Bray Wyatt to win this match. Granted, it's not for the title, which also I think is a reason why you can have your champion lose and still, have this result. So I'm going with Bray Wyatt. Or whichever Bray is the person standing at the end.
All right, so with you going with Bray, I'm going to have to pick the opposite. I love Braun. I love the Monster Among Men, but also I like Bray. I like the fact that they both know each other. I feel like family is going to know you better. And honestly, I'm not gonna pull against someone who has a strength, because Bray is mental, that is strength. So it can play to either or. So let's just see how it goes. My personal pick, I'm picking Braun.
Okay, so we're definitely going to be seeing this tie broken, we think, although we're having an even number at the moment, so it's potentially we could go 2-2.
Probably.
So maybe it breaks here. As we move to what we feel will be the main event of the evening, the final match. And for those of you who have never joined us, note that we are only giving you the card based on what was official as of the timing of our recording. So if they decide on Sunday morning that they're going to announce another match and it's on the pre-card, tough luck. We didn't talk about it. We may store picks on there. But we move to what is the main event. It's from Monday Night Raw, and it is for the WWE Championship. it will be Drew McIntyre defending against Raw's newest traded individual that has tried to come in and play mental games with them in Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler has been one that's been kind of sitting in limbo for about the last 6 months or so. Not really sure what they're wanting to do with him. They had him, of course, he ran a storyline where not only was he friends with Drew McIntyre, they even won the Raw Tag Team titles for a few weeks together during their initial run when they were battling with Roman Reigns. But now Drew WWE Champion, and Dolph comes over and says, what have you done lately? We're best friends, but when all of a sudden you became big, you left me in the dust. And even bringing over people like Heath Slater onto a show of Monday Night Raw to really start playing in his head. Now, the one caveat of this will be some type of stipulation, but Drew willing to let Dolph pick the stipulation, and he's already said, I'm not telling you what it is until we get to Extreme Rules. That definitely favors Ziggler. The question is, will it be enough?
And in my opinion, I love both men. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't. Honestly, we have seen Drew Claymore kick the heads off of everybody that has come in his path to try to take his title. Again, we saw him at Royal Rumble actually be the last man standing. Now, Dolph, with this whole stipulation, I feel like Dolph, and I'm going to go ahead and say it for the record, I feel like Dolph is kind of being a diva. And I know we don't use that terminology because we had to drop it. But in my personal opinion, he is being a diva with saying, I'm not going to tell you what it is. You've given me the upper hand to have the stipulation, so I'm going to make you wait till the day of the match. I will make you wait until we have that match to tell you, and then we can kind of go from there. So I like Dolph, but I also love Drew, and I want to see him retain and keep the title and be the fighting champion that I know he can be.
Well, we also have to look again. We've made mention several times that SummerSlam's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want going into SummerSlam as your WWE champion is what you really have to think about. So, you're picking first for this last one. Let's go with a bonus one here as well to try to see if we can get an eighth one up here since it's a slightly smaller pay-per-view. Let's not only pick our winner, but let's see if we can guess what Dolph's stipulation is going to be. So you're up first. Take a second to think about it. And of course, we want you to give your thoughts in the comments while Kia kind of racks her brain. Who do you guys think? Who do you think of all of our picks? Are we getting any of these right? Or are we going to sit here and, each go like 2 and 6 or something, So.
Did we not see what happened with the Seth and the Mysterio when Seth gave Mysterio the right to pick a stipulation?
Was that a mistake?
That was a big mistake. Honestly, whatever it is, we know Dolph has been through the ringer in all his previous matches, and he's tried to, fight and be the fighting champion. And don't get me wrong, he's great. But on the flip side, I feel like not only is he a diva, he can mastermind almost anything. He's been able to work with people. He's been able to work without people. He's been able to work alone. He's been able to work just... Right now, he's working for himself, and that's all I'm going to clearly say. So, in my opinion, I feel like the stipulation would have 2 other people backing him.
So you're going handicap match.
I'm going handicap with, let's listen to this, Heath Slater coming back for this match, as well as where's Jinder Mahal. I feel like he's going
3MB push. I like that.
I feel like he's going to use his former...
I didn't even think that direction.
I feel like he's going to use his former 3LB members to take him out to make him feel some type of way.
Okay, so you go 3-on-1 handicap, but is it enough? Does that stop the sexy Scotsman?
Oh, hell no, it's not going to stop.
It's not going to be enough.
That man's going to Claymore kick the heads off of everybody that comes in his path still. But, so, my pick, and I'm not picking against him, Drew.
Going with Drew McIntyre, despite the fact that you think Dolph's going to stack the deck against him.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. So you're taking, oh, good grief, we get a heart too.
Yep.
And then you said your pick was, I guess write it on the side, you said, handicap match.
Stipulation? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just write it off to the side, I guess.
Kia, handicap. I hope I'm telling it correct.
Excellently done. And you're even going a step further by going with names. Now, the only thing you need to get the point would be the handicap match.
But hey,
guess we'll find out.
Yep.
All right. So again, the problem with this one is this one hasn't had really a ton of story behind it. You had a couple of times where like Heath came back and he got you in your feels. But really, there's not been anything Dolph's been able to do to really get that upper hand over Drew going into it. Not even on the last Raw. You haven't seen a single Monday Night Raw come to an end or the segment come to an end where Drew has been the one laying in the ring. It's either been Dolph running off or Dolph saying, nope, on my time, whatever. So, it's going to be interesting to see with them having very little physical interaction up to this point, exactly what each one has up their sleeve. I think you're on the right path when you come to your handicap match. I'm going to take it a step further, though. I'm going to go gauntlet match with any person pinning Drew, winning the title for Dolph Ziggler. You could go with 4 men, you could go with 5 men, you could go with 6. He'll bring out the whole ninja regime with Akira Tozawa. You could line up people like King Corbin or somebody because it is multi-branded. So my stipulation for me is going to be a gauntlet match of some kind.
Wow. I didn't think of that.
With ultimately, him being nice and worn down by the time that Dolph gets to his match, which would be the one for the championship. Does it make a difference? Hell no, it doesn't make a difference. What they have done is they have made Drew look almost unstoppable since he took out both Brock and the Big Show within 20 minutes of each other to win and retain the title at WrestleMania. And so far, the only credible threat he's really had has been Bobby Lashley. And you really have to give the assist to Lana for him not getting the job done, because he really was the only one that really had Drew's number going into it. Dolph, to me, unless he just brings out the big guns, is not. He knows he doesn't have the physical advantage. He almost barely has the speed advantage, because Drew, for a guy his size, is very fast.
Yes, he is.
Deceptively fast. So, Drew McIntyre really right now has the look of everything you want to see in a champion. He's got the appeal on the mic. Of course, he has the look of, a champion, which I know she really likes. And all our lady fans out there enjoy the sexy Scotsman. But also, he has the tools in the ring to back it up. He has been thumping everybody and doing it dominantly, which is what you want to see from the champion of your industry. So, I can tell you want to go somewhere, but my pick, I don't care what match he throws in front of him. I don't see any scenario where Dolph is going to be the one heading to SummerSlam as champion. I like Drew retaining as well.
Have we not noticed,
no heart for him for me.
That's fine. Have we not noticed? I'm picking Nikki Cross as well as Drew. I'm going with the Scots. Okay, I'm just saying.
That's it.
And Seth gets a heart too.
Oh, good grief. Well, if we're gonna do that, might as well. I can't draw as good as you, so it's close enough.
It's fine, it's good.
But either way, that is our official picks for the Horror Show at Extreme Rules. What did you think? Did we get them right?
Did we get them wrong?
Are we not even close on this? Is our final score going to be an absolute horror?
I'm trying to be clairvoyant. I'm trying to see into the future. Let's see how that works.
I love
not
it.
exactly sure.
She's using the science from Alexa last night. Hey, again, it's science. It's knowledge, y'all. You're not just watching wrestling. You're learning stuff, too. I think I used that in 2 nights in a row.
You have it.
I used that on the ring apron yesterday.
Yes, you did.
Love it. Either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We had a great time. Again, thank you so much for being supporters of this. Hopefully Extreme Rules goes well for one or maybe both of us. Who knows? We might end up going through all of this and may still be tied when all's said and done. So I guess we'll find out. But give us your thoughts. Give us your picks. And let's all go join Extreme Rules. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, Questions with the Queen highlighted Nikki Cross earlier today. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, go back and watch it. It was a great 15-minute playover of Nikki Cross and her career up to this point, as well as Kia's, thoughts and questions about, who she is. We had a chance to talk with her recently. It was a fantastic showing, so we enjoyed it. We also do have some changes in programming coming up, so more details on that a little bit later.
I'm going to go ahead and give y'all the heads up. I don't know if this is what you were trying to hit at, but I actually have gotten feedback on my show to do a reaction video. So I will start with this pay-per-view doing a reaction video as far as the camera being on me and anybody that's in the room, as well as the camera being on the TV. And let's just see how it goes, because obviously, like I said at the beginning, I love horror stuff. So you're going to get all types of reaction, invoke all types of things coming from me. And let's just see how you enjoy it.
So anybody who wanted to see me get squeamish about pulling an eye socket out, God, I hate that. That's going to be one of the first things we see. But we have been asked so many times to ask about us doing a reaction video, some live recordings of us watching the show. So we're gonna give it a shot for Extreme Rules. We think there's enough good matches and enough fun things there that we think it'll be a ton of fun. Also, for those of you who have been asking to see the little ones, they're gonna be in the room, hiding around there somewhere. So you'll see them popping their heads in and out as well. We'll try to make sure they behave. But either way, thank you so much for joining us. We had a great time as always. Keep washing your hands. Keep wearing your mask. Let's get back into those arenas soon. Kia, take us home.
And like my husband have said, and my co-host, if you're going to wear a mask, the best mask to go with is Kimber Last Kick. She has an Etsy site. Just, she's across every form of social media. She is doing her thing. Go ahead and hit her up. Great price for a good item. All right, we'll talk to you later. Hope everybody enjoys Extreme Rules, and I'm out. Mwah. See ya.